Hey guys, I'm Bronson, and this is a secondary market update video for the Heart of Fyendal, a Fable card for Welcome to Wrath. Now, just as a reminder, this is not an investment channel, this is not investment advice. I am just a collector, and I do this for entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered investment stuff. So, this card is the biggest hype train I've ever seen in this game. It's kind of interesting. So, to give you a little background, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, is that this card, since it was the alpha printing, and since it was the Fable card, which is the most rare card in the first set of the game, it's gonna be highly desirable. And I've seen it compared to the Black Lotus. I've seen it being like pictured as like this end all be all card of like, oh, like this is amazing. You need to, this is the card that is gonna be something. And sadly, I think it is. I mean, this is what we're left with. But I think at the end of the day, if you are buying this card for competitive play, for playing with your, friends and trying to be competitive, I think you're going to be sorely like mistaken. I just don't think it's as good as people think. Will it maintain its value long term? I think it will, because again, this thing is the alpha print. It's in the alpha print, and it's the rarest card in the first printing, and that is huge. That is the biggest thing, and the supply on these things are abysmally low, so it's going to retain the price. Now, I want to get into the price of this now that I've given you kind of a background. There were a bunch of sold listings back in the day, so back in August and July. Currently, it is September 28th when I'm filming this, and a lot of people got out a little bit too early from this game. And if you're one of those guys, I am so sorry. Like, these people sold their hearts for like 500 bucks. And yeah, I mean, you made money regardless, probably on your box. You opened this and you doubled your money from this card. Congratulations. But now the heart is selling for around $3,000 to $4,000. None of them have sold yet on eBay, but I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, I think it's going to take maybe a year or two, but eventually there will be people who have the money and they want a piece of the magic, and they want to have something that is very historical to the Flesh and Blood card game. And there's nothing of higher collectability and higher rarity, I think, than the Heart of Fyendal. Like, I think it is the end all be all of collectible card for this game. Now there might be other cards that are more rare. There might be more cards that have better ability to it, made to play in the pro scene. So I think that it doesn't have too much of that aspect of playability. I do not think this is going to be seen in pro play, which is a good thing. But I want to leave off with this, is that it's going to be interesting to see how this card plays out long term, because at the end of the day, like, when you have a card that's compared to the Black Lotus, when it's compared to things that are just amazing and people have that perception of it, then it's gonna be interesting to see how this ages. I can see a projection of either it staying around like $2,000 to $3,000. I think that that's reasonable. But if this game takes off and there's a bunch of people who come into the scene with tons of money and they're like, well, I'll pay 5 grand, I'll pay 6 grand. I think that that is a very real occurrence. I mean, I think that that's way too much already. I think $3,000 is way too much for this card. I think that, man, like, it's just not worth it. Like, and to get more into the card, like, it only gives you one health. One health if you're losing the game and you pitch it. And the problem with this is that it's not that much health, and it's so much better to have a card in your hand that has a defensive value where you can block with it, or has a little bit more utility, or get the Tome of Fyendal like I've talked about in other videos, where you can gain 5 health and draw up one extra card essentially, and and it's you can have three of them in your deck, and those cards are $50. So it's really going to be interesting to me to see if people watch the pro tournament and hear about how the card isn't used as much in the pro scene and isn't as good as everyone thinks it is. That's my biggest thing is I think that there is an occurrence where that could happen where someone releases an article, somebody a lot more important than me, and they say, "Hey, the heart's overrated." And then everyone who has the heart reads that article and then tries to fire sell it and sells them for maybe $750 each or $1,000 each try to get rid of them. But then I think that that's going to be a biggest regret of this game. Like if you have this card, if I had this card, let me put it in Bronson speak. If I had this card, I would keep it. I would keep it for very long term and wait if because I love the game and I think it's going to succeed long term. And I like having a piece of that history. But I just really want to put that into perspective that I think that this card is going to stay around $2,000, or there could be a situation where people get frightened and they're like, "Oh no, this card's actually crap. Let me get rid of it." Uh, and it might go to that $700 to $1,000 range, especially when unlimited comes out. When that unlimited format comes out, and a lot more people have hearts, those unlimited hearts, who knows what those prices are going to be. And on top of that, if some pro player releases a statement saying, "Oh, that heart of Fyendal actually sucks," and it's nothing like the Black Lotus, then it's going to take a toll. Now, is it a good card? I think it does have uses. I think it is a good card. Will it stand up to a pro level tournament? That I don't think so, and I don't think so because the New Zealand Nationals recently occurred, and the top four players just did not have a Fable card. So that kind of is telling me something. But that's up to you guys what you take out of this. I hope you learned something interesting. I hope you thought outside the box. Again, this is not investment advice. This is not investment channel. Just a collector, and like to entertain you guys. Thanks for watching.